everyone. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the levels of writing, and then the elements of writing, and lastly, the steps of writing. Okay, let's go to the first thing. We are going to talk about the levels of writing. Nobody can directly produce a complicated written compositions without undergoing every level of writing. Every level takes some time to understand and master, and therefore, it is important to understand the level or stage of our writing capability. The first written composition we learn starts with knowing letters, the alphabet that consists of 5 vowels and 21 consonants, like A, B, C, and etc. The next stage is the syllable, which is usually the combinations of at least 1 vowel and 1 consonant. Semester consists of 3 syllables. The individual syllables usually doesn't have meaning. The combined syllables can form a word to create meaning. For example, like an apple. The words can later be combined to create phrase, which acts as nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and occupies one position in a sentence. Higher than a phrase is a clause, which is also a combination of words, consists of 1 subject and at least 1 verb. One type of clause can be preceded by a conjunction, and thus cannot stand by itself to bring complete meaning. The combination of words that carries complete meaning with at least 1 subject and 1 verb is called a sentence. A sentence always starts with capital letter. A group of related sentences can then create a paragraph, and a group of related paragraphs can create an essay. Higher than an essay is a scientific writing. The example of scientific writings are final papers, theses, and journals. Final stage is in the form of book. This time, our focus is on the paragraph writing. Alright, let's move on to the second talk, the elements of writing. It is important to know the elements in paragraph writing, especially since the terms will be widely used in proper formatting of a paragraph. A good paragraph should not only be meaningful in content, but also catchy in the eye of the readers to differentiate it from the other paragraphs. Remember that written composition is always in physical form. You need to know and understand the terms and format used in written form well, especially for the last 4 levels or stages of writing, starting from writing a paragraph up to writing a book. Here I'll give you directly the example from the Word document for you to understand easily, and also some tip and trick to help you type faster. So what are the elements of writing? The first is title. Here I give you the example of the title. The formatting elements of paragraph writing. The title should be written in the center, so you can use Ctrl+E like this. And then you can either use all capital letters by using Shift plus F3 and click on it several times. Then you can change the format. All first letter of the words to be capitalized. And remember, not all words should be capitalized. Some function words like conjunctions or prepositions do not need to be capitalized. Okay, so now here is the body of the paragraph. Okay, so we have a full paragraph here, but it still doesn't look tidy, so we need to tidy it. The first thing that you have to do, you have to make indentation. The first line in a paragraph should be written differently from the next line. Give around 5 or 6 strokes to start the first word. This is to indicate a new paragraph is made. Next is margin. Margin is the space between the edge of your writing and the edge of the paper. If no requirement is given, make sure your margin is balanced between the left and the right. You might also want to tidy your paragraph with neat left and right margins, so just make it justify. Block the whole paragraph and then use Ctrl+J to make it justify. And lastly, the spacing between lines. Line spacing should be consistent. For a single paragraph, it's better to use size 1.5 You can use Ctrl+5 or 2.0 or Ctrl 2. Line spacing make it easier to read. Use this format every time you type a paragraph. And this is the final form of a paragraph. Now we are going to talk about the last discussion now, which is the steps of writing. In order for a paragraph to be good and understood well, and to prevent too many mistakes or errors in the final composition, it is advisable to do the steps well and carefully. By doing so, we will be aware and critical to produce a certain paragraph with common standard. The steps or process of writing basically has roughly 4 steps before the finalizing. First step is pre-writing, next step is organizing, followed with the writing process, and the final step is polishing. Now let's see one by one. We start from the pre-writing step. What is pre-writing? Pre-writing is the step where we have to get the idea or topic to write. How to do it? First is to find a topic or subject to discuss, and then we have to find more specific things related to the subject. And to make it easier later, we have to make some kind of pointers about this specific subject. It will be helpful if we can use all the WH question words. Make questions using the what, when, where, why, who, and how. And then there are 2 ways to do the pre-writing. First is by listing, and next is by clustering. Listing is making a list down below the topic or the subject, while clustering is creating bubbles surrounding the topic or subject. We will discuss this listing and clustering pre-writing process in later videos. Okay, now we go to the next steps or process in writing, which is organizing. We have already chosen the topic and make some kind of pointers. Now we are making the outlines of the idea to make it easier later to write with a systematic flow. The outlining itself can be in numbering or bullet systems. This is the example of the outlines that I have made for these presentations. By having this outline, I will make my ideas flow systematically well. Alright, we go to the next steps, which is the writing one. So in writing, we will develop the idea into the paragraph. We call it as rough drafting. Okay, we start developing the idea based on the outline that we have already organized previously. And then here we also have to use the proper format of paragraph writing. We make the title, use the proper indentations to indicate it's a paragraph, and then make a balanced margin, and don't forget the spacing. For the rough drafting, you can have more than one draft because you want to make it perfect at the end. Also, for each draft, you need to proofread it. Read a draft over and over, and you can even add or delete any ideas that fit or don't fit in with the topic. And lastly is polishing. You can either revising or editing. The revising means you check the content and the organization. Make sure that your ideas flow systematically. It doesn't jump 1 to 3 to 5, for example. And then the content, make sure that all sentences are related. There is not any new idea there. And then for the editing, you have to check on the technical problem there, like the grammar, the punctuation, the mechanics, including the capitalization in the paragraph. Okay, after you've done all of this, step 1 until 4, finally you will have your final form of paragraph. Don't forget to save it. Right, so that's all what we have learned in this video. The levels of writing, the elements of writing, and the steps of writing. Get ready for your comprehensive paragraph writing. Thank you and see you all.